Hello there, this is Denzin, and today I'm looking at this. Or is it this? Yes, Nuka World, Fallout Factions. Not Wasteland Warfare, which is the other Fallout game by Modiphius, but Fallout Factions, which I've just finished playing with some relatives today. This is my little table that I had set up for it. Although you don't need a table quite so big, this is 4x4. You can get away with about half this size, really, for a game of Fallout Factions. So Fallout, obviously the video game, TV series now, and miniature game by Modiphius. Wasteland Warfare is their original game. It's been out a few years now. Fallout Factions is a bit more recent, and I think there's been a bit of confusion as to which game's which, or what's what, why is this, what's going on, why do we need two games, that sort of thing. Fallout Factions went for the Nuka World DLC for the video game, where it's the various gangs fighting out around Nuka World, which is a theme park for Nuka-Cola in the Wasteland. And I thought this is a bit of an odd thing to do, to be honest, when it came out, because if you want to get into Fallout, you'd think, why not just do the obvious Brotherhood of Steel, Raiders, Super Mutants, and so on, instead of going for this more of a niche, if you like. I thought maybe they'll do another version and have Fallout Factions, and then do another area and have the factions that fight in that area. But they're not really doing that, are they? They are releasing an actual rulebook for Fallout Factions as a standalone game, going away from Nuka World and actually having your Super Mutants, your Raiders, your Brotherhood of Steel, and your Wastelanders. Now, those lists for doing sort of gang warfare, if you like, with your little crews, was available online to download as a sort of get you by list, and we use that today to play our game. We had a little practice game using the actual Nuka World minis, 5 men on 5, very quick, simple rules. But then we sort of added a few rules and got a bit more detailed, and got out the Brotherhood of Steel, who absolutely walked over the Raiders. Absolutely. Guys in power armor with numerous wounds are basically like walking tanks, and they just stormed their way through the game. But I just thought, while the game was still set up, basically the board was, I thought I'd just video it, just show you what I've got. I've got a few 3D printed buildings, a few official Fallout 3D prints as well, a few MDF kits that just fit nicely. This is the old terrain board from Citadel. I added the roads to it, so you might recognise it if you're a Warhammer buff. There's the skulls. You've always got to have skulls, but you can't really use it for any other game, can you? Skulls everywhere. But if it's the post-apocalypse, I think you can have some skulls, can't you? So I use these boards for Fallout and games of Terminator as well. They work quite well for that. So this is my post-apocalyptic table. I've got various buildings of Fallout. I've got my diner there. You may have noticed I've got a video about my Fallout Vault, which I'm still working on. So I'm adding to that constantly. And I have various buildings for Fallout. I'm aiming to get a red rocket 3D printed, which is quite a huge task. But this is a bit more of an open environment here. But you don't need much of a space for any of the Fallout games. It's a skirmish game. Fallout Factions itself, I found it to be quite dynamic, quite fun. I do like the activation sequence where you basically exhaust a figure by giving them a token. You perform an action, you get a token, which means you're a little bit tired, a bit weary. You know, you've done something, you've moved 8 inches, it takes a lot out of you. And then the other player moves one of theirs. But you can go back and forth, and if your character is only slightly exhausted, they can still do another action. So you don't have to do both your actions in one activation. You can do one action and then keep him going, and then if he's fully exhausted, he gets a token, which means he's done both of his actions. And I like that because you can sort of set things up. You know, you can go back to somebody, you're not done with them. And I quite like the dice pool mechanics for this game as well. When you shoot people or hit them or do any sort of action, you have a dice pool of luck dice and then normal dice. And the luck dice, if they are successful, gives you rerolls and critical hits and things like that. So it's quite dynamic. I quite enjoyed it. It hasn't got the in-depth gameplay that Wasteland Warfare has, and I think the problem with Wasteland Warfare is it's very confusing when you first get it. If you're not into wargaming, it can be very confusing. I think Factions is slightly more accessible. It has that Necromunda vibe, I think, because it's got the same sort of design team on it, really. So gang warfare, and a very good campaign system as well, so going from game to game. But I went away from the Nuka World because I don't really have any Nuka World scenery, so I just thought, let's just do a normal Fallout game and use the Brotherhood Steel and use the Get Me By rules. And had great fun with it. But I don't know if it's going to survive. I know they've got the main rulebook coming out soon, but will it be more successful than Wasteland Warfare, which is more of a sandbox where you can do what you want, you can go down to more roleplay aspects of it, you can do solo play, and it can be quite confusing, I find, that game. It took me a while to get into that. I think it needed a second edition, to be honest with you, just to clarify what the hell's going on with it. They've updated it a lot, but Factions I thought was a lot easier to get into and was fun, really enjoyable. If you just want to do a quick skirmish game with some friends who know Fallout but really aren't really into wargaming too much, it's not hard to get into this game, and I had a great laugh with it. I think what it does need is more scenarios probably, and more environmental things. You know, it's not just the warbands fighting. You know, the thing about Wasteland Warfare is you get random things happening, and random things happening is good in games. Anything random makes the game more enjoyable, if you ask me. But that's my opinion anyway. But that's me just showing off this table. I don't know if you like Fallout. If you played Fallout Factions, did you enjoy it? I certainly do. What do you think the future might be for this game? I hope it goes on. Small model count, and I think that's what you want for a skirmish game like this. Nothing too expensive. The other thing I think this game needs is special characters. I think you should be able to hire named personalities from the video game to add to your squads. So if you've got the Brotherhood Steel, let's get Paladin Dance in there, you know? That would be good, I think. So characters of renown, you know, if you like. But anyway, that's the end of this little video. Fallout Factions. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again, maybe.